We are ready to go.
We'll call to order the Town of Lisbon and Village of Merton Joint Planning Committee meeting at the Lisbon Town Hall on Monday, February 1st, 2021 at 6:33 PM. Roll call, please.
Village Administrator Nelson.
Here.
Okay, I'm not going to pronounce your last name
Oh,
right.
President Reinowski,
Village President.
here.
That's an easy one. Reinowski's
Yeah.
easy.
Chairman Osterman.
Here.
And then we've got Commissioner Mark Meyer.
Here.
And we've got Administrator Nicholas. Here.
Thank you. Item 3 is comments from citizens present. We have a whopping no citizens. Is there one on Zoom?
Nope. Applicant.
Okay. Item 5, discussion necessary action on the December 5th, 2019 Planning Committee public hearing and meeting minutes.
Is that the last time we went?
Yes.
Time flies, you're having fun.
That long ago. Well,
Wow.
how did it look to you?
Do we have anything to really go over? I mean, that
This
was
is a
really,
long time ago.
Yeah. I know.
December 5th, 2019 was our hearing for your Harvest Ridge, yeah.
Lots were about 20,000 less at that time, too.
It looks decent. I'd make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'd second that motion.
Motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Mark, you're abstaining from these?
I am.
Your motion carries 2-0. Thank you. Item 5, new business. A, discussion and necessary action on a request by applicant Joseph Bukovic for a concept plan review and request to rezone from A10 agricultural district R1 suburban single family residential district for unplatted lands owned by MLG PF Twin Pines LLC located along Lake 5 Road in the town of Lisbon, tax key LSPT 0171.995, known as Twin Pine Farms Phase 3, and recommendation to the town board of the same. I'm assuming to the Village Plan Commission too,
Mhm.
and also to the Merton Village Plan Commission. All right, Rachel?
Yes, do you want me to do a brief overview like we do for Plan Commission?
Sure.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, so we received this application for a concept plan review and a rezoning of the land. This is for phase 3, or what's called Twin Pine Farms 3. It might not technically be the third phase. The staff memo outlines where the project has been. I think you're all aware, but the first 2 phases were platted in previous years in the 2000s. And so it's been some time since you all received a plat for review for this project. But this would be taking another approximately 53 acres in the south end, just south of the lots that are already platted, and building out another phase. And so this would involve rezoning the land, a new preliminary plat, and a final plat to get this project up and running. It's almost identical to the layout that was approved back in 2005. This was part of a preliminary plat for the overall Twin Pine Farms subdivision back in 2005. And since that time, there have been some changes, largely minor, but the memo would just point out that they are proposing to remove one road connection to Center Oak Road over on the west end. And this would take access only then from Lake 5 Road in town of Lisbon. This had one additional lot has been added for a total of 37 residential lots. And there were some minor adjustments to the internal road layout and the lot arrangement in order to make those changes. And also because the amount of time has passed, I think the town had different subdivision ordinance and zoning code at the time, back when the other plats were reviewed and approved. So this is coming in under new town ordinances, and those are all good reasons to see a new preliminary plat that will be forthcoming if this rezoning gets approved. That's the applicant's intent. And the other things I would just note is that this is subject only to town of Lisbon zoning. There is no county shoreline jurisdiction on the site. There are some environmental, my understanding is the applicant, and I think he's present here so he can speak to this if you have questions, but they'll have to do more site investigations, the soil testing, verify any presence of wetlands on site, if any. That will all be something that he's working through, and as he prepares a preliminary plat for submittal. But at this time, it's only the rezoning that's proposed. And under the cooperative plan, of course, as you all know, you have a new one just approved in 2020. So that agreement provides for the Joint Plan Committee to receive, consider, and comment on any applications for rezoning. Certainly land divisions that you'll see that coming in the future as well. Chair mentioned this is part of subject also to village extraterritorial review. So we've directed the applicant to work with Merton directly on that to make sure that the village has what they need. Yeah, current zoning is A10 agricultural, so that would set a minimum lot size of 10 acres. Obviously, that would not be suitable for the proposed subdivision, so that would need to be rezoned. And they're proposing R1 suburban residential. All of the lots would have a minimum 1 acre size, and that is consistent with what's in the recommended land use plan, which is also part of the cooperative plan that the two communities have recently issued. So that provides for low density residential between 20,000 square feet to 1.4 acres per dwelling unit. As proposed, this would have about 1.4 acres per dwelling unit. So they're right within that range that's identified in the long range plan. I would view that as consistent with that. Otherwise, the staff memo just includes some more or less general comments on the concept plan, just noting some unique features with regard to the road layout. I've discussed this a little bit with the applicant as well, just making sure that there aren't any concerns from a certainly emergency services standpoint. With regard to the road layout, I think he's proposing to have an easement connection there to Center Oak Road, and so that would not be completely eliminated. It would still be there for emergency purposes. And otherwise, the comments really center on the types of things that he'll have to deal with when he goes to plat, and such as right-of-way dedication, the soil testing that we covered, stormwater management, and also the thing to note is more in Lisbon's long-range plans that potential provisions for trail and parks. I don't know if anybody will be requiring that. I just pointed out that that is in the town of Lisbon's ordinance, and as well as the 5-year park plan, that somewhere in this general area of town, some park facilities were identified as needed. However, I don't know if that will come into play. It's just out there for your information and to discuss if you see fit. I'll leave it there unless you have questions for me.
Questions from
Both the areas, the old area is going to be rezoned into R1. The two lots that are on Lake 5 Road now.
I think those are proposed to stay zoned as they currently is zoned, unless I am incorrect on that.
Rezone the whole piece or just leave them as R2?
I believe they're being left R2. Can the applicant speak to that?
I mean, it don't need it, but you normally, it's a thought anyway, if you're gonna make, now you got those little spots, not that it's that much difference in the village, isn't that a big zoning issue, but just something now you got 2 spots or right, as a planner, you got 2 spots on our zone R2, right in the middle of RSS.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at the map. I see what you're describing there. I would say that those are parcels that are outside of the applicant's control. So those, I think, in my opinion, I don't see any problem with those being left R2. That's just an existing situation there. That is also a single family zoning. So I think that's compatible with what's being proposed here. And this proposal would continue the R1 zoning that's to the north. So the rest of Twin Pine Farms is R1, and this would be carrying that forward to the south.
And you still have access.
Good evening. This is Joe Bukovic. Sorry, Tom. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Joe.
This is Joe Bukovic, the applicant, and the 2 parcels that you're talking about, or 3 parcels you're talking about there that are R2. Those are under private control and not part of the land that MLG owns. So we don't have the ability to change that zoning at this point. And as Ms. Holloway stated, the R2 and the R1 are very similar residential type zoning categories. So we just wanted to match what was to the north with the other parts of the Twin Pine development.
Topography there, that should be pretty good for conventional septic systems, right? I think probably that's all Fox Hill owned, isn't it? Rather than Hockheim?
There's going to be 5 or 6 lots with mound systems, but the rest will be good conventional systems.
Good.
Any questions for you, Mark?
The only thing I had was just, and to Rachel's point about, as she went through kind of what is proposed here, the only thing I would ask is before we get, tonight is the rezoning, but then following that is gonna become the steps towards developing a preliminary plat and then a final plat, is to at least reach out to both fire departments that service that area on either a primary or reciprocating arrangement, and make sure that the single entrance that you have is gonna work for them. And then also, I'm sure they're gonna have some questions regarding that emergency access. Is it plowed in the wintertime? Is it high ground? Is it ground that's not gonna be passable with heavy equipment in the spring if it's wet outside? Just forward thinking that you might wanna kind of step through that whole process first before you get too far along with developing the layout of the subdivision.
Thank you. We'll definitely do that. We've had discussions with the town fire department. And they're okay with what we're proposing, which we haven't brought forward yet. But are you talking about the village fire department, or would that be the town of Merton Fire Department that is responding?
If there's an emergency, the shortest route's gonna be up Main Street to Center Oak. So they're not gonna wanna come out to Lake 5 and come north. They just wanna make, just trying to find the fastest route to your residence if there's an issue.
Sure.
Is there a specific individual that the applicant should contact on Merton's side? I didn't know who to direct him to. I'm sorry.
At the Merton Fire Department, ask for Chief Josh, Josh, and the last name is Paral, Par, A as in Adam, L as in Larry.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Rachel, I just have one question for you. If the way that this is drawn out right now, and I know we're not worried too much about the plat because that hasn't come forward, but we have a road that comes in and the cul-de-sac's very, it's a long cul-de-sac. If it's a proposed road to the south, but if that road never gets actually built out, that it connects to any other roads, are we at a limit with our cul-de-sac length?
That is a good question. At least under Lisbon's ordinances, the maximum should be, I believe it's 500 feet. Just double checking my notes here. But the town does have the ability to waive that if it is warranted based on the surrounding road network or some unusual condition. I think that is a good consideration at this time, just based on the road layout, that there are some choices to be made here, and that would kind of tee up the next parcel to the south. It would be good to consider where that parcel, if that develops, if and when it develops, where the access would be.
And I have one more question. Why aren't we attaching this to the other road? So why did you make the determination to just do a easement instead of actually bringing the road and the subdivision out to Center Oak?
That was done primarily for sense of community and just keeping the residents and not creating a shortcut from Center Oak over to Lake 5 Road. It's really to keep those residents not safer, but having that sense of community and not having the outside traffic running through the neighborhood, instead of going down to Plainview or whatever and taking a shortcut across. That was the main reason, was for traffic of our future residents.
This subdivision is serviced by Merton Community Schools, right? Yeah. So the school district is, the shortest route to the school district is down Center Oak to the school. So your people are you're probably gonna have more traffic coming in and out on the west side of the subdivision than you are on the east side. Just something to think about.
Yep, for sure.
When
Just
that,
to tag onto that too, I would just, in thinking on this more, the access would, if the parcel to the south develops, the developer maybe should think about that. That's another potential source of traffic in and out of the subdivision, which would be directed through your subdivision and not to Center Oak as far as an outlet. That would be something beyond your control at that time, but that if that becomes a future subdivision, they would have to use that road and extend it, presumably.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the percentage of kids that get driven to school versus the ones that take the bus, and it's gonna be a crowd coming down Lake 5 and then going across Plainview when they could just shoot down Center Oak and go right to school, but, you know, again, that's something you guys gotta think about with the marketing of the subdivision.
I was kind of just saying the same thing about when they develop the land to the south, does the impact of not having that, is the Twin Pines subdivision not come out on Center Oak have any impact on when they develop the land to the south? As a planner, do you see any problem there?
Is that for me to respond to?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
if you look at the development of the land to the south, when that's developed, does the fact that the Twin Pines does not come out on Center Oak have any impact on that development? Because of the county of, what, coming out on Marshall Drive and then too, there's intersection with the street right there too. If it doesn't, I don't know. I'm not a planner, but maybe you have any ideas?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think I would say every decision probably has impacts one way or the other. And it's hard to know how that other parcel would, if and when a developer comes along there, of course, we're speculating there, but there would be that parcel has frontage on Plainview. So that would be one potential source of access points for that. And then, I don't know that they would necessarily need to use this access point up here, although if it's brought right to the property line, from my opinion, it is good to have that connection and a second way for residents to go. It tends to reduce traffic on any one road segment if you have more, places to come in and out of your neighborhood. At least you have choices that way, or if something happens and a road is blocked, you've got another way to go. I don't know that it necessarily, I can't think through all the different ways right now that they would lay out a subdivision on that parcel, but they would have Lake 5 and Plainview frontage. So that to me provides them some, a good number of options there. Also Center Oak. So they could, I think, create their own access onto Center Oak from that other parcel to the south of this proposed development. So
Okay.
I don't see it as cutting off their options as far as road layout. It would affect them, of course, but.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
Any other questions, or anyone? Comments?
Good.
Anything else from, Mark, anything else? Or anything, Mark? All right, anything else from the developer, or applicant, I should say?
I'm good, thank you.
Is there a motion on this item?
I'll make a motion that we rezone the subject parcel from A10 agricultural to R1 suburban single family. Also known as the Twin Pines Farms Phase 3, I believe it is. Given the data that's been provided to us by the planner and her recommendations, as well as information from the developer or applicant.
Great, I'll second that. So is this going to go to the board or the plan commission next on Lisbon?
Go to the plan commission.
Right.
The 11th.
Recommendation to each plan commission
Mhm.
included. The second would also agree to include that. All right, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Item 6 is adjournment.
All motion.
I'll second. No discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're out at 6:52. Thank you.
Rachel,
Thank you.
before
Yes.
I got a notice from Bruce. Sounds like with the new